This is Squawk Pod from CNBC. We're bringing you the best of Squawk in Paris for the 2024 Olympic Games. On today's episode, outfitting the Olympics. CEO of a longtime designer for Team USA, Ralph Lauren. It's Patrice Louvet.
When we see Coco and LeBron wearing us like this, going down the Seine on the boat with the entire team, it makes us so proud.
Louvet's approach to global consumers and his journey to CEO.
I bought my first polo shirt when the store opened, 1986, and I've fallen in love with the brand then, and here we are.
An extended interview from Paris. Plus, one of the people Ralph Lauren is dressing this year, Martha Stewart, one of the reasons she goes to the Olympics.
This helps a lot. Of course, it promotes your name everywhere, but it also makes people think I'm cool.
Her pot business, her plans while she's in Paris, and her friendship with 2024 torchbearer Snoop Dogg.
I had him on my show years ago. I love rap. I tried to get Eminem on. He wouldn't come. Then I got Snoop on, and we have become fast friends.
Plus, some hard news to round out the week.
The headwinds for the market, they are strong this morning. This comes after a global market sell-off.
I'm CNBC producer Cameron Costa, podcasting from New York.
I feel the distance between us.
It's Friday, August 2nd, and Squawk Pod from the Olympics begins right after this. This is Squawk Pod from CNBC. Ralph Lauren has outfitted Team USA for 9 consecutive Olympics and Paralympics since 2008, designing uniforms for opening and closing ceremonies. For this summer's Olympics in Paris, the new collection draws inspiration from its host city. Andrew sat down with Ralph Lauren CEO Patrice Louvet at the company's store and restaurant in Paris. Here's that conversation.
Let me just ask you this then. What Olympics is this for you now that you've been running the company? How many Olympics have you been doing?
This is now my 4th Olympics, but obviously I wasn't able to go to Tokyo.
Right.
All right. So this is really the first one where we're able to kind of be on the ground, be present,
Right.
be in contact with the athletes.
So So I was going to mention there's something about this Olympics that feels different.
Yes.
And maybe it's because it's beyond the pandemic. Maybe it's because it's in Europe and it's in the middle of the summer. But it feels like the whole world has come together and they've all arrived here in Paris.
Right.
Do you feel that way?
Yes. But first, it's a beautiful city.
Right.
Right. And through the opening ceremony, you got a chance to discover all the incredible monuments here. And this is the city of style. So fantastic. And for us, we've been really excited to be part of this 9th Olympic for us. And I think indeed you feel the energy here. And we're just at the beginning of this. And we're so proud to be part of it.
So when you see Beyonce wearing your jacket in that video, which has now gone completely and utterly viral, has that gone off is that flying off the shelves now? Do people know it's Ralph? How do you think about that when you see that?
Yeah, we're really proud of that.
Right.
We're really proud to see actually a lot of people asking for our products. And while it's only the very beginning of the Olympics, our products are indeed flying off the shelves. You know, what's important for us is this is an incredible opportunity for us to showcase the brand to the world. Right, opening ceremonies, I think record high ratings, up 60% versus the Tokyo ratings. And it's incredible the number of individuals who approach us and say, hey, could we have access to this item, that item? We have a wonderful footprint here in Paris. We're at Team USA with a great store. We're obviously in this location, which is pretty special. We have a store on Avenue Montaigne. We have our historical store, Place de la Madeleine, which is where I discovered the brand some 40 years ago. So a very exciting time for us.
Oh, so go back for a second. You said you discovered the brand for yourself 40 years ago.
That's right.
How?
Well, you know, I'm originally from here.
I know.
Right? This is my hometown, so it's doubly exciting to be here. Wearing Ralph Lauren 40 years ago was something that was very aspirational to me. And I bought my first polo shirt when the store opened, 1986. And I've fallen in love with the brand then, and here we are.
How do you think about luxury, to the degree you believe you're a luxury brand, in the context of sport, but also in the context of this very mainstream event for the world?
Well, for us, luxury is a way of living. All right, so it's not a price point, it's not a product, it's really a way of living. And if you look at Ralph's vision and way of living, it's been inspired by elevation through every dimension. What we're experiencing in hospitality is a good illustration of that. And I think luxury has different definition depending on the different customers you talk to. But I think the way of living that we offer is broad, it's universal, and it's really resonating. I was visiting our stores a couple days ago. It's incredible to see people from around the world engaging with the brand. We spent some time with a group from Jakarta, Indonesia, engaging with the brand. There were Chinese people, Japanese people, people from the Middle East. Just exciting to see how broad the Ralph Lauren definition of luxury is.
And when you see, I mean, let's go back to the opening ceremonies for a second, because you have LeBron James and Coco on the boat with the flag in their coats, with the rain and the plastic over the coat. What did you think?
You're very stylish.
Very stylish?
Very stylish. I think it's going to launch a new trend, the poncho trend. No, actually, listen, our teams do an amazing job developing these uniforms, both opening ceremony and closing ceremony. And when we see Coco and LeBron wearing us like this, going down the Seine on the boat with the entire team, it makes us so proud. And we're so excited to be able to showcase the Ralph Lauren brand associated with the USA team.
Do those blazers sell like hotcakes? I mean, do you think we're going to be seeing people wearing these Olympic blazers down the street?
Absolutely. You will see that as you go to different ceremonies.
Right.
Yes, available here, but doing incredibly well.
But do you think they sell, well, is that something that you then sell beyond this, beyond the Olympics? I mean, when we walk down the streets in New York City, is there going to be somebody fun wearing an Olympic blazer?
I mean, obviously the key moment is when the event is happening, but I think the elements, all the items are developed with a sense of style and an element of uniqueness that people will be proud to wear. So I do expect this to have a longer term impact than just during the few weeks of the Olympics.
Okay, let me ask you a separate question. We're here drinking Ralph coffee.
Yes.
This could become a huge business, and it seems like it's becoming a big business.
So one data point that I'm very excited about, we touch today with our hospitality 3 million people every year. We have 30 coffee shops. We have 5 restaurants, including Ralph's in Paris. It's a wonderful way to showcase the brand and to give people the opportunity to discover Ralph Lauren differently than through apparel. And we've been really pleased with the response that we've seen. Latest opening was actually a coffee shop that we did here.
Right.
In addition to the restaurant, we also opened a coffee shop in Chicago. And your instinct is right. This appeals to a very broad group of consumers. We're seeing a lot of young consumers engage with our coffee.
But how big a business can this become relative to the apparel business?
Yeah, listen, I don't think it's the next billion-dollar business for us. We really view it as an option to engage consumers differently and showcase the brand. But I think the experts and in the hospitality space don't have to worry about us becoming a billion-dollar brand today. Now, in the future, last time you and I were together, you asked me about a hotel.
Yes. And Ralph has since spoken publicly about hotels in Women's Wear Daily.
Yes, absolutely. It's a natural question, right? Because Ralph creates worlds. Ralph is first and foremost a movie director before he is an apparel designer. We create these environments, we create these worlds. It's a perfect fit, I think, with hospitality.
Can you give us a hint of what's going to happen on the hotel front?
On the hotel front, nothing to share at this point.
Nothing
but I'll be sure to let you know
we
first.
want to know. We want to know.
I'll be sure to let you know first.
Can we just talk about the global market for a second? Because one of the things that's clearly been in the headlines, just how challenged the market is in China and in parts of Asia. How do you see that playing out?
So China for us actually continues to do well. And I'm very excited about both mid and long-term opportunities for us in China. Last year we were up over 30%, up on top of 23% the year before. We had a really good quarter in the quarter we just reported. So we're seeing the brand continue to have strong momentum. We have a unique ability to bring in new consumers. We're focused on key city clusters in China. And while we know the consumer's sentiment is pressured, right, partly because of the real estate challenges in China, we remain really positive about the outlook and the perspective for the business in China. And that applies actually to the entire Asian markets for us.
Because Ralph Lauren is sort of a uniquely American brand, how much do American politics affect the company? The way you think the rest of the world looks at the U.S.?
Yeah, I think the values that this company has been founded on and that we're staying very true to, optimism, authenticity, timelessness, are universal. And while we have American roots, we're a global company, and we work very hard to make sure we translate those values in a way that resonates with the local consumer, with the local culture. So we have not seen our business be impacted by the noise that is.
But
out
when
there.
you travel around the world, do people say to you, "What's going on in the U.S.?" I mean, is that a big conversation? Given that,
I think that's always a topic given everything that's happening. But certainly, as far as our business is concerned, as far as our brand is concerned, the way we show up is not impacting us.
your dedication to sports, you obviously sponsor the U.S. team for the Olympics. You've got the U.S. Open in the U.S. You've got Wimbledon. You've now added Australia. I mean, how far does this go? Would you like to? I mean, you don't own tennis here in France yet.
We do not own tennis in France yet. How far does it go? Listen, when you think of sports and the company, it's really a core part of the heritage of Ralph Lauren, right? You know that when Ralph created this company in 1967, he actually considered different names. Polo was one of them, baseball was another. So sport's been at the very heart of this company forever. We are very active in tennis. We are, obviously we have the U.S. Olympic team. We're in golf, right? It was actually good to see how we showed up recently with Billy Horschel finishing second at the British Open, showcasing our colors really nicely. We're in gaming, so we sponsor the T1 and G2 team, who have done particularly well this past year. Fundamentally for us, the lens is we want to be where our target consumer is engaging with brands, where our target consumer wants to discover brands. And so I think you'll see us over time continue to expand that footprint.
Do you want to get into true performance wear? I mean, you do through
RLX.
Right. And obviously you do in golf and a little bit in tennis.
Right.
Are there broader ambitions for that?
At this stage, not a priority.
Okay.
The priority for us is to continue to drive more sense of style, a sense of elegance, less focused on performance. There are wonderful companies that play there. But again, you know, what Ralph has built with the teams over time is this very broad range of products, these different lifestyles, and certainly we see the opportunity there. It's not a priority in the near term.
We always talk about clothes, but we rarely talk about home. And home does very, very well for you, but also we're in this sort of midst of a period where, you know, after the pandemic, everybody was redoing their homes and there was a lot of people buying. What's happening now?
So we're super excited about the home business. You know, a couple of years ago, we called that out as a key priority. Because again, back to the earlier conversation we had, if you imagine the worlds that Ralph creates, well beyond individual items, it translates perfectly into the home category. And actually, if Ralph hadn't started with a tie, I would have recommended he start with the home business. And we just celebrated 40 years of home at Ralph Lauren. We see great opportunities in the furnishings area, which is a highly underdeveloped area for us. And you know, we've got clients now who are building a home and will come to us and say, I'd like to furnish my entire home from top to bottom in Ralph Lauren. And that's actually quite exciting for us. And I think significant runway looking ahead.
Okay, I've asked you this before, but I assume this is a much more complicated question in Paris because as I was walking in last night, somebody said, this is Ralph Lauren. And because we're here in Paris, do you rather than Lauren, we've gone back and forth about, is it Lauren or Lorraine? But when you're in Paris, is it different?
So, little anecdote, when I took on this job 7 years ago, several people said to me, so Patricia, are you going back to France? I said, why? Well, isn't Ralph Lauren French? So certainly the French culture and the Parisian lifestyle has influenced Ralph, and he absolutely loves this town, and we as a company love this town. But in terms of how you say it, it's Ralph Lauren.
Ralph Lauren.
Ralph
so
Lauren.
Let's just say it.
But you're welcome to say it any which way you want.
Cheese will be next.
Up next on Squawk Pod, another person Ralph Lauren is outfitting for escargot with Snoop Dogg.
You're going to the George Sank.
Yes.
What are you going to wear?
I have another nice Ralph Lauren outfit to wear.
Okay.
Lifestyle and social media maven Martha Stewart. The scoop on her upcoming exploits in Paris with her bestie Snoop Dogg, her take on TikTok, what's in her investing portfolio, and even how she's feeling about Elon Musk.
Tesla, I loved Tesla. I'm pissed at Elon Musk.
You're pissed at Elon Musk.
I am, and he better get back to work in certain areas.
Welcome back to Squawk Pod. Andrew Ross Sorkin sat down with a very special guest while at the Olympics.
Up and Andrew, cue.
Martha Stewart, she's graced the cover now of Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. She's now here in Paris commentating with her friend Snoop, and we should mention her 100th book. This is incredible. Martha, the cookbook, coming out this fall, and you've got a birthday, a big one also.
It's not big, it's a little one.
It's a little one?
Yes.
No.
It's a little birthday, I hope. And I'm here in Paris, and I'm so happy to be here.
We're so excited to have you here. And look at you all decked out.
Yep.
You got the whole thing, Ralph Lauren on top.
This is the American, this is the outfit. I want Snoop to know I'm wearing his Skechers Olympic sneakers.
These are Snoop's shoes.
Yeah, I have mine too, but I like the glittery gold.
Okay, so tell us what you're going to be doing with Snoop while you're here.
Okay, well, we're eating escargot. I'm trying to get him to eat some unusual French food.
Yeah, and how successful do you think you're going to be at this?
At the Georges Cinq.
You're going to the Georges Cinq?
Yes.
What are you going to wear?
I have another nice Ralph Lauren outfit to wear.
Okay.
And Snoop, always outdresses me. I can't keep up with his uniforms. He's amazing, and he's done a beautiful job here on the Olympics.
Right, extraordinary. I mean,
amazing.
Just the excitement that he's brought to the whole game.
Yeah, and I think everybody loves him so much. The reports from back home are great. And then I'm going to go to some museums. I'm going to the Louis Vuitton Foundation. I can't wait to see Ellsworth Kelly and the Louvre maybe at night. I want to see that again. And we were eating and eating and eating. Oh, I had the best drink at the Ritz bar, the Bar Vendôme. It's called a Parisienne.
Okay.
And I had them make it with my favorite vodka.
What's
that? Zubrovka.
Okay.
And it was so delicious. Cucumber juice, elderflower liqueur, pink champagne, and of course vodka.
And then you guys are going to Versailles.
Yes, on Saturday for dressage. And so I've been boning up on my dressage. I have a beautiful dressage. I have the whole outfit I'm wearing. And I don't know what Snoop, what are you wearing? You better tell me soon.
So you guys are going to be commenting on dressage.
On the Grand Prix.
Now he, I believe, went viral with this last time, because I think he was doing this with Kevin Hart. And he was talking, do you know about this?
No, tell me.
I think he was talking about, what was it, guys? It was the horse was doing the crip walk. Is that right? So I don't know if you guys, do you have to plan the banter? Is there any
absolutely
plans at
not.
all?
No. Snoop and I banter very well together.
By the way, I never even asked you this. How did you first meet Snoop? Because you know
I had him on my show, and
you've been in business now together for quite some time.
But I had him on my show years ago. I love rap. I tried to get Eminem on. He wouldn't come. Then I got Snoop on, and we have become fast friends. And he's a really funny, intelligent person, and he's just fun to talk to. He always has a take on the subject, something amazing.
Okay, so what do these games do for you and your brand, by the way, given just the global nature of this?
Well, it's experience. I'm a curious person. I want to be authentic. I want to be able to comment on where I go and what I do. And this helps a lot. I think it just brings, well, of course, it promotes your name everywhere, but it also makes people think I'm cool. I'm cool.
You are cool. You are cool. But so my other question that relates to this is, of the various brands in the Martha Stewart empire, what is selling right now? What are you feeling? What are you seeing in the economy of your economy, the Martha Stewart economy?
Well, our kitchenwares and our bedding on Amazon is just flying out of Amazon. My Skechers are doing extremely well. In fact, I'm in 17 of their categories now. Skechers shoes, those step-ins for men and women, are doing amazingly. And I've made a very big impact, I think, on Scott's Miracle-Gro. Because I'm an avid gardener, and my garden this year has been the most productive it's ever been, thanks to Miracle-Gro Organic raised bed soil.
Now you have a book. It's this is your 100th.
My 100th book comes out in October.
Can you believe you've written 100 books?
Yeah. I work really hard.
No, I know you do.
And I love writing. This is a book called The Cookbook, 100 of my favorite recipes with amazing backstories. And thanking all the chefs and all the fabulous cooks all over the place that I've worked with, they're my recipes, but
Right.
they're interpretations of what I've learned over the years, and they're beautiful. And I think everybody's going to want this book.
Oh, can we talk about the pot business before we leave? I don't know if you can talk about the pot business at the
Well, I
Olympic
can.
Games. Can you?
I don't know. I'm sure I've smelled it on the streets.
It's not like New York City though here.
No, not at all. Not like 34th Street where my office is. I'll tell you.
By the way, how do you actually, as somebody who's in the business, how do you feel about that?
What, smelling it on the street?
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. It's
You don't think
I'm
it's too much?
No,
I think it's a little much.
No, it's not about that. I'm only dealing with CBD right now, and I work with Canopy, and we've made gummies, and we've made oils, and we've made and they've been very, very well received. But without the government regulation, we're not. The business itself is not doing well.
Okay, I have a separate social media question. We were talking about Meta today because they had blowout earnings last night.
Yeah.
But when you are playing online now, and just for your businesses, what's working and what's not? I mean, is Instagram the place for you? Is TikTok the place for you?
Well,
would you advertise on any of these things? Are you spending money on an X kind of thing?
Well, I haven't spent any money on it, and I have quite a few million followers. Yes, and I love Instagram a lot. I think it keeps my fans enamored of what I do and interested in what I do. I think it's a way to communicate very nicely if you want with your audience. TikTok is also, I've been on TikTok for quite a while now, and now we're just starting to sell product on TikTok.
On TikTok? Would you keep
that's
investing
be
in
a
it,
powerhouse.
given that there's sort of an anxiety that it might get shut down?
It's not going to get shut down.
It's not. Martha Stewart saying it's not going to get shut down. Why do you say that?
It's too powerful. It's so used. It's so fun, and danger. I don't want to get into the big danger of TikTok or Instagram. They're all dangerous if they're misused in the wrong way.
Are you as addicted as I am
to TikTok?
Either TikTok. I just scroll on Instagram.
I limit my views per day. I have to, but that's usually like in the middle of the night when I have insomnia.
Right. You got to keep the phone out of the bedroom. That's what they keep telling you. That's like Ariana Huffington. She says you got to keep the.
Oh, but she sleeps. Do you sleep?
Not enough.
No, but you look good. You're sleeping enough.
You look great. Happy birthday to you, Martha Stewart. Thank you for being here. We look forward to watching you on NBC with Snoop Dogg over the next couple of days, including dressage on Saturday on
Meta.
Peacock. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Meta, rising. How fabulous.
There it is.
Yep.
You own the stock?
Yep.
Full disclosure there. What else?
I have been an investor in Google, Apple, the big tech stocks. Tesla, I loved Tesla. I'm pissed at Elon Musk.
You're pissed at Elon Musk.
I am, and he better get back to work in certain areas.
Oh, so what? Hold on. What's your problem?
I love electric cars. I drive. I have 2 electric cars. I'm now getting the Rivian truck.
Yeah.
And I think that if we don't get going on this stuff, and concentrate.
Is the Rivian though a protest against Tesla? Because you were just making.
No, I love the colors. I love the shape. I love the whole thing. I tried the Cybertruck, and it's just too crazy for me still.
Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart, thank you so very much for being here. This was a lot of fun.
As fun as the Olympics and Martha Stewart are, we do have some hard news to bring you before we end this week. First, the Fed. This week, Chair Jay Powell primed the markets for the central bank's first rate cut in 4 years. Months of slow but steady progress on inflation and a cooling job market have reduced concerns of overheating the economy.
If we were to see, for example, inflation moving down quickly or more or less in line with expectations, growth remains, let's say, reasonably strong, and the labor market remains, consistent with its current condition, then I would think that a rate cut could be on the table at the September meeting.
And big tech reported quarterly results this week. Q1, things were looking good, exciting. AI pushes, optimism. But in Q2 so far, some wavering. For some, the question is, when will all these AI costs start paying off? NVIDIA, for its part, lost over 5% of its market cap in July. Here's Joe, Becky, and Andrew with the rest of the market headlines to wrap up your Friday.
Joe and I are back here. We are in Times Square. Andrew is still at the Olympics in Paris, and we're going to get to him for an update in just a moment. But Andrew, you're looking good.
Yeah,
very French.
It's like a Parisian Olympics type thing. Go on.
I figured this is my final day
For
here
Friday.
in Paris, so I felt
For
like
Friday.
I needed to go as Parisian as I possibly could.
No beret at
No.
Diplo. Don't
No
don't do
beret.
the raspberry beret. Do you feel? I feel the distance between us. But and also, just so you. But although it feels like you're right here, just so you know, the headwinds.
Yeah.
Be ready for the headwinds coming back. Like for the markets, I think we have headwinds too. But
We certainly
2
do.
hours longer. 2 hours longer coming back.
Flight coming back. than
Flight
going
coming
over.
back. Than going.
Let's take a look at the headwinds for the market. As you mentioned, they are strong this morning. This comes after a global market sell-off. It all comes after a nearly 500-point decline for the Dow yesterday, with the S&P 500 down by 1.4% and the Nasdaq tumbling by 2.3%. It didn't stop there. The small caps actually had their worst day since February. They're on track for their worst week since January. They were down by 3% after the big gains that we've seen recently. You can still see year to date, though, up by about 8%. And again, this took place around the world. In Asia, the Nikkei tumbled by 5.8% overnight. That marked its biggest percentage drop since the COVID-related plunge back in March of 2020. If you were looking at the Topix index there, that fell by even more, down by 6% today. Add that to declines of more than 2 or 3%, more than 3% the day before. Over 2 days, more than 9%, and that is the biggest decline the Topix index has seen since 2011 with the Fukushima earthquakes and then the tsunami that came in Japan. A lot of this coming because of what they're seeing on a very different basis. The central bank there, Bank of Japan, actually raising rates. There are expectations for additional raises and what that will mean for the export business with the stronger yen. And then you've got gold prices that have been hitting record highs. Right now, it looks like gold is above $2,500 an ounce, $2,506.70. And then you've got the VIX really picking up as well. Volatility above 20. It's the first time we've seen that in longer than I can remember.
Weird, because Bitcoin was not correlated to gold. It's up today, but it was all the way down. Looked like it was headed under 60 again. So, the whole gold store value, I don't know. They definitely have different things going on, but, Bitcoin has gone up so much. We're getting our rate cuts, everyone. That's what you wanted. I mean, they're coming eventually.
But if it's a sign of a weaker economy, does that
look? Bad news isn't good news right now. Bad news is really what it is. And now the worry is that the Fed, the rate cuts may not help stem what. Now we're hearing the R word again. I'm reading it everywhere. Yeah, rate cuts don't do it if you don't hit. It's nice to have both. It's nice to be cutting the rates in a strong economy. If you're cutting because there's a problem, maybe that's what we're coming to grips with here. We can't do 5 or 6 this year anymore. We could do 50 basis points if it really got nasty.
It could. Look, there are already calls coming saying the Fed's behind the curve, that they were behind the curve on raising rates, they're behind it on coming out of it. But we'll see.
None of these big tech earnings have been that bad, but they haven't been that good either. And there's some that we're going to look at now that are weighing on the market. Look at where Intel is trading there at $22. I'm going to look on a long-term chart, see the last time we were here. Intel reporting a weak growth forecast. It suspended its dividend and it now announces plans to cut more than 15% of the workforce, which doesn't seem like what the CHIPS Act was designed to do, result in 15,000 job cuts. I think it's supposed to be going the other way. Can the government pick winners versus losers?
Well, and this is an indication that this is not going to be a growth company. There's 2 ways to make your market cap make sense. One is to get earnings growth. The other is to slash things on the revenue side of things. And it looks like Intel has given up on getting some sort of growth back to those positions. So they're shoring it up by cutting dividend and doing the rest of these things.
Whatever they're doing, it's not the Intel of the past, and it's going to be down. If on $30, on $29, if it's down $7 on $123 billion market cap, we're getting down near $100 billion. AMD, which has been doing a lot better, $200 billion, so it's double. And then you got things like Nvidia, which is just taking over the world. Meantime, Amazon's revenue missed estimates, and the current quarter forecast came in weaker than expected. The company cited consumers who are increasingly cautious, trading down to cheaper goods and distracted by a chaotic news cycle. Apple is roughly flat for the week amid the sell-off. Quarterly results beat estimates, with revenue rising by 5%. It was lifted by a jump in iPad and services revenue, but another, I think iPhones another quarter where it was actually down. Andrew, what do you think? I mean, this was not what if we hadn't tried to bolster our domestic chip industry and help Intel out? I mean, this is with the help that we're getting this. So I don't think...
Look, what Intel will say is it took a lot longer to get that money out than had been anticipated, so any of the potential growth you got on that...
They shouldn't be dependent on that money anyway, and they never were before at this point. But it just shows you, I don't think the government knows how to pick winners and losers. And when we do it, it never works, but we never learn. They don't know how to
Well, the question is whether we should have picked different companies to do it. I mean, I think that's part of the question.
Or not do it at all, but to back the right we never seem to be able to pick. Did we pick the right strategy for EVs, the government?
I think we invite
Tesla. They didn't even invite Tesla.
Well, that's a different story, but I think actually if you go back and look at the success of Tesla, actually, we did pick the right ones early on because he really did a remarkable job, and the government was helpful there. I was going to mention that one of the most interesting insights into what's going on at Amazon, for example, was this idea. You talked about the news cycle being a little crazy. They talked actually about the Olympics, and they also talked about Trump, the attempted assassination of former President Trump, as reasons why people are not buying, and actually why the guidance was a little bit lower. They talked about the consumer and the strength of the consumer, but part of it was literally a distraction. One of those distractions being the news cycle writ large, but the Olympics being a huge distraction. I never had contemplated that
from CEOs
a distraction, if you will, was going to prevent people from actually going online and buying new product, but apparently it may very well be.
Huh. That's interesting.
The Olympics is providing a good distraction, I think.
It's providing a great distraction from a lot of things, hopefully.
Well, here we are back with the markets. That's what I was going to mention. Yeah, the Dow's down a lot today, but that's just basically getting to where it was at one point yesterday, because it rallied. It was down almost 700, and it only closed down less than 500. So, it's even worse. But yeah, this could be the start of what we've been waiting for.
But if this idea of distraction, news distraction, I never heard news as being a distraction for a consumer company. We're going to have a lot of distractions between now and November. So how does that play out? And by the way, yesterday we had a great distraction in the return of Evan Gershkovich and others. So I just wonder how all of these sort of news headlines will be part of this.
That's it for Squawk Pod this week. A big week in Paris and around the world, really. Enjoy the rest of the Olympics. And remember, you can watch every medal, every event on NBC and on Peacock. Next week, we're getting back to our regular programming here on Squawk Pod, but if you missed any of our Olympics coverage, scroll back in your Squawk Pod feed. There's plenty of fun for your weekend listening. Our TV broadcast, Squawk Box, is hosted by Joe Kernen, Becky Quick, and Andrew Ross Sorkin, weekday mornings on CNBC at 6 a.m. Eastern. Make sure you follow Squawk Pod wherever you're listening now, and we'll meet you back here on Monday. Have a great weekend.
We are clear. Thanks, guys.